Mayor Perry Holman, your MC for tonight, and just wanted to thank you all for coming out and supporting us, especially on this not so warm night. It's very, very cold outside, so we just want to thank you for coming out. And this is the fifth part of a series we've been having here in Midland about who we are. This last part of the series is We Are Human. In a minute, you will have the panelists come out, and we will have some question and answering. And then we'll have a discussion, and then you also participate with questions to the panelists. But before we do that, we want you to stay up to date on what we are doing and what's the latest update about the Breaking Bread Village. So do me a favor right now, if you haven't done so already, pull out your phones for me for a minute. And wherever you use social media like Facebook or Instagram, go to the Breaking Bread Village page and follow it. I don't see it. I see phones. Let me see your phones out. Let me see it. I see it right there. Go to Facebook, be on the account, and follow the Breaking Bread Village, or to Instagram and follow the Breaking Bread Village so you can stay up to date as to what is going on with Eric, Patrice, and the group. Okay? Can you do that for me? Thank you very much. And with that now, before I leave, just Tessa was, wasn't she great? Let's give her a round. New to the area and just had a beautiful, beautiful voice. Love that voice. Now, let me get started with a video to tell you a little bit more about the Breaking Bread Village.
Hey everyone, it's Eric Patrice. I'm so thankful that you chose to break bread and share space with us today. I have 3 quick shares. Number 1, I cannot promise change things today, but I can promise that you'll have the opportunity to grow emotional intelligence and intellectual development. I can promise the opportunity to connect, listen, share, and become more aware. The opportunities are here. It's only up to you whether you take advantage of them or not. Number 2, while in our Breaking Bread Village space, we believe in respecting every voice that's present, which leads me to my one and only rule and expectation while we're all together today, is respect. If you choose to grow or share, that is up to you. But respect is the only expectation. In our space, we honor and embrace differences and understand that we all come from different journeys and have walked a different path. We believe that everyone has value and can bring a perspective that we can glean from to broaden our knowledge and hearts. All I ask is to give what you want to receive. If you want respect, you got to give it. Number 3, quickly go on our Facebook and Instagram pages and click like or follow. This helps us to stay connected with you and be inside of your phones because we are recording. We would appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, let's get started as we journey through self-discovery and build opportunity and community. Again, thank you for coming. I'm grateful. Let's go.
Welcome to the Breaking Bread Village live show experience, where we have conversations, build community, and ignite change. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let's change the world together, one conversation at a time. All right, presently. Break bread and be free.
Now let's get ready to meet our panelists for tonight. Come in. First we have Brandon.
Open your mind.
6 foot feet.
Now it's your time.
Gary. Jason Tess. And Christian.
Enjoy love and be
trusting your me. Regret me.
Give them all a hand, please. One more time. Give them all a hand. And now for the host for tonight, let's welcome in Miss Erin Patrice.
Hello, everybody. Everybody good? Awesome. Well, I appreciate you all for breaking the code and coming out here to spend time with us today as we close out our last show of the Who We Are series. I'm so proud of us and so excited for this, and so thankful for all of our panelists that came out today to join us in this conversation about cancel culture. I'm going to read something very quickly, then we're going to get started with the conversation. Cancel culture refers to the social phenomenon where individuals, organizations, or public figures are publicly criticized, boycotted, or ostracized, often on social media, due to behavior, statements, or actions considered offensive, harmful, or controversial. Cancel culture is said to aim to hold the person or entity accountable for their actions. Still, it can also lead to cause for consequences, such as being canceled or removed from platforms, projects, or positions of influence. So I wanted to read that because some people have never heard of cancel culture, and I don't know how, but that is the thing. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knew what we were talking about today. So let's go ahead and get into it, because cancel culture has been a big thing for the last couple of years, right? And I've had so many questions about it because I'm trying to understand who gets to decide, who draws the line, how long does it last, is it forever? So we're going to talk about that. Yep, get your water, go ahead and get hydrated, because we're getting ready. So the first thing is, and someone asked this question to me just not even 30 minutes ago, what do you think cancel culture is? What do you think it is? Because I want to make sure we're all on the same page here. So what do you think cancel culture is? Anybody can jump in. You don't have to wait for me to ask. Just go. What do you think cancel culture is?
I think it can be two things.
Okay.
I think it can be bullying, and I also think that it can be kind of like a public admonishment. So perhaps it's not quite bullying, but I think a lot of times it probably leans more to the bullying side.
Okay. You can pull your mic closer to me too. Shit, go for it.
I think Tweet what he's saying, I think it has spilled over the media version of cancel culture into like the youth and even adults, but especially in schools, kids think that because media and people that they see that are famous decide that things can just be canceled, they're doing it with their peers. They're deciding that something they have done or has said that they have done is enough to get others to cancel them, whether it's as friends or on a team or in any sense like that.
Yeah. You guys want to add to that? Brandon?
I think it's a decision.
Okay.
It's a decision of things that maybe morally, spiritually, financially, and or gang mentality. You see this group of people saying so-and-so's bad, so you jump in. And then I think a lot of times, even when you do jump in, I think that the gang mentality is an idea of, yeah, I'm saying what they say, but secretly at the house, you do not really believe these things.
Yes. Okay. Anybody else want to add to that?
I think there are some other names for it, like consequence culture. So there are consequences for actions, or call-out culture. But in the social media world, there's a whole lot of piling on. I think where people don't even know what the issue is, but they pick their sides, and it's easy to pick a side anonymously.
Yeah, and it's easy to pick a side if you don't have to really account for it, right? If you don't have to say why, you just say, well, I'm with them, so that's what I believe too. Okay, Jason? Ennis?
Well, I think that there's a good point about social accountability that can be played there, but then that can turn into public scrutiny. Then that can get worse and turn into like social vigilantism, you know, like bad man taking it into our own hands. That's only like 2 steps away from the mob. You know.
Okay, yes, okay. You want to answer that? What is cancel culture to you?
Well, I mean, I think it can be both a good thing and a bad thing. I think that some things that get canceled should be canceled because they are outdated and not with the 21st century.
So give me an example. Give me an example. What do you think?
I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, I know that there's been protests that have ended things. And so canceling that would, do you know what I mean? Like, canceling whatever it was that was the bad thing. I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, it slurs off of somebody's sexual orientation. Not going to go over too well in 2025.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Not too long ago was that not. I wouldn't get you canceled. Might get you looked at.
You said slurs about their sexual. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember shows right when we were younger that came on at night, right? Because they couldn't play it during the daytime, and I mean, things were said that everybody laughed at, right? But now
It's not funny anymore.
Companies are being held accountable for before kind of got pushed away. And now that people are not using as much as products from that by holding them accountable.
I have an example of, I consider myself a selective cancel culture.
yes, we still have to.
Yeah, and I'm gonna bring out the names. Here we go. On one side, both men are absolute geniuses. I have history with them growing up, but one I canceled, the other one I'll never give it away. So let's go ahead and jump into it. R. Kelly, yep, I said it. Cancel, right? Can't do it. Don't listen to it. Bill Cosby, on the other hand, love the show. Can't cancel Bill.
Which is interesting because they have relatively close to the okay. And that's my question. How do we decide these people that we cancel, right? How do we decide it? Because you have some type of endearing feeling towards Bill Cosby because he was your American Dad on the film growing up. And then R. Kelly, it's okay for you to cancel him. Jason, I feel like you want to say something. I can see your face doing things.
Jason, you listen like that.
Yeah. I'm a speaking part judge. No,
Yeah.
it's funny. I did think when you mentioned that example, do you cancel the individual and everything that they've ever done? Because let's face it, he wrote and sang some of the best music ever. Bill Cosby acted like something he wasn't on TV, something he wasn't in real life. People were alleging,
Right.
We all probably have our own thoughts on that, but you cancel the person and everything they've ever touched or not? I would say probably not. I mean, one of the, somebody they'll put on a history that was canceled real early. I mean, it's not just something new. I mean, they canceled Jesus Christ. They were still talking about him today. They were still following some of us are following his teaching. So it's a mob mentality. Do you cancel the entire person and everything they've ever done? I don't know if I'm that far, but.
And that's the question, right? That's the question. Do we cancel everything? I mean, it's music that I remember. I mean, it's music that if you play the R. Kelly's right now, I remember, how old I was when that came out, riding the bus and we had our, Walkman on, and those were good memories. But yet, again, so Jason and then Christian, because I can see you guys both want to say something.
Well, I think there's a distinction to be made about convicted or conviction rather than canceled, right? So which is cart and which is horse? So are these people canceled because they're convicted? Or are they also canceled because they're convicted? Because sometimes it seems like perhaps we're trying to take the law into our own hands and say, well, well, whether you're convicted or not, what supersedes that is that we cancel you. It's like,
Yeah, it's a good, yeah, Christian?
Let those without sin cast the first stone. I mean, I think we go too far on a lot of these. We don't know these people personally. We don't know the situations. There's a whole lot of piling on to cancel people. And Bill Cosby was everybody's dad on that show, right? So how do you give that up? There's good in lots of people, and how do you separate it? Do you forget everything they've ever done? I mean, maybe you don't forgive them for some of those aspects, but do you cancel them forever? I think we all have to make up our mind ourselves. The issue for me is when the whole public makes anything that's associated with it also canceling you, right? So you can, if you express some like for that person and then the law comes after you, it silences all the discussion, it silences recognizing the behaviors that person did that you want others to emulate, it silences the discussion that you facilitate.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, you know, I think about, I'm just going to say it, like we just had an election, a new president come in, and what I'm finding on social media in particular is that if someone happens to be Republican, right, and they happen to be Republican, and the person that Donald Trump gets into office and people do not like him, now every friend that they had as a Republican is now Donald Trump. And I was talking to a lady, and she felt really saddened by the fact that she was being called a racist. She was being called, all kind of ugly names because she is a conservative Republican, right? And so that's one thing that I thought about when we talk about cancel culture is that we have these really defining sides in everything, right? I mean, right now we are in such an extreme culture where like you're either all the way over here or you're all the way over there. We don't have a lot of in the middle, and people aren't allowed to even toe the line and try to figure out where they fall. And so right now people are saying, well, if you are on that side, then you're evil, and if you're on this side, then you're good. And, you know, that's really what's happening right now, you know? And so what do you all feel about that? I mean, is it fair to cancel a whole group of people based on their, I look at it like core beliefs, morals maybe, or they feel like that's their, and I'll use an example. Someone is a Christian, right? I spoke to a lady that she said that she does not necessarily care for Donald Trump as a person, but he aligned with her morals and her values as a Christian woman to her. Right? So she felt like her business has been hurt by it because someone found out that she was a Republican. And so that's being canceled, right? I mean, we talk about social media, but you also are canceled in real life where people won't shop with you or do business with you anymore. So what do you all think about that? Do you think that's valid or?
it's unavoidable. Human beings are construed in a way that there's approach and avoidance or fight or flight or freeze, right? But more normally it's approach or avoid. So what we're making is judgments on what to approach and what to avoid, and doing that collectively. Maybe biblically, that's represented as like judgment and mercy. Like, what are you going to push away and what are you going to bring closer? And that's kind of what I see as collectively. Are we going to bring that closer and we'll push that away to the extreme, like off at the pit? I think when we talk about cancel, it's form of like exile.
Yeah. Karen?
The problem with having that mentality, though, is that both sides see themselves as right. So essentially, you're canceling everybody. Everyone's canceling each other. It's just brutal.
People start doing it on appearance. I'm surprised no one's mentioned Jason's red hat. You know, red hats trigger a lot of people.
It really does. When we first walked in, I wasn't sure, and then I saw not guilty, which, I don't care if you wear that, but, you see red hats now, you automatically do associate. Was that intentional? Did you want to get some skirt up a little bit?
He's an attorney. I've been known to market myself a lot.
Yeah.
I had the idea for the hat a couple of years ago, and it was always black and white. That was always the brand. But I did go red on purpose.
Yeah.
And it did trigger a lot of people.
Oh my gosh, I just read it.
I got lots of arguments. I got a lot.
I thought it was.
That's why she didn't say that. Lots of men.
Sorry, I'm just coming up here with an open mind. Okay, look, we got a magic guy.
Look, man, you got a mega guy.
Let it go.
You got a mega guy up here, but
You look like that guy,
the
but-
point being, I did it intentionally to draw, and then I would start that conversation as far as, you know, I'm an attorney, and you know, and then that let them know, yeah, whatever. But there were times, I mean, even speaking of, you know, canceling by strangers. I mean, I've been standing at the urinal having an argument with somebody else because I haven't read it out. And it's bizarre to me.
Yeah.
So the example though that I wanted to relate to was the young man in the picture with the older Indian in DC.
That's right.
And that blew up and harmed that kid. And that kid, if you can really imagine, was terrified with the situation, young, didn't know what was going on. He had just picked up that act because they were in DC and it was the thing to do. And that went viral and really impacted that kid, his friends, his family, his life forever. Because people are so partisan in their simple view of how someone looks.
Yeah.
And because the damage is done, we forget, or people fail to mention, we ultimately got a financial settlement because of that. And, you know, but it went around and they really selling them as far as, you know, look what he's doing, he was just standing there. So,
Yeah.
I guess that's where I started with the bullying. I mean, you get cancel culture or, you know, choice culture, right? I mean, you can choose to do business with me or not.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's where I was going to go with it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
A lot of it is choice. That's
Yeah.
what other would say, well, this is what we do in our house. So what other people do, or like I said, the mob mentality, that means absolutely nothing. We always say, God bless us for no more. So what we do between me, my wife, and my kids, that's our own business.
Sure.
On who we work with, who we talk with, you know, who we do business with, of that nature. So.
Yeah. So I want to ask you guys, I want to pivot a little bit. Do you think that cancel culture is necessary? Do you think it's necessary? Is it a necessary tool to, what some people say, hold people accountable, right? Because, and I have different thoughts on that, but I want to hear your thoughts on, do you think it's necessary? Do you think it's valid? Do you think that it should happen?
There's always been cancel culture since
Yeah.
tribes.
Yeah.
And the Greeks realized hey, we should probably formalize this because here we are, you know, sending people out, you know, packing their bags. And we really need to figure out a political way to do that. So it's never not been a thing.
But do you think that it's necessary?
Yes, sometimes.
Okay. Tell me why.
I think, you know, sorry, Jason, do you want to go?
Like the hero.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I guess in regards to, you know, the Bill Cosby and R. Kelly thing, you know, I think that some things have done, you know, like we've made advances, like let's say with slavery and, you know, LGBTQ rights, LGBTQ plus rights. So I think, and a lot of those took movements of people just saying, no, we're not going to let you treat us like this. And they changed, you know, and like the whole canceling Bud Light thing. Bud Light made out thing, you know, like, I don't know. So that's kind of, I think sometimes it is vital to get it for a change. Now, who gets to decide what? That is the big question, right?
Yeah, because my question is, and thank you both for that. My question is, are people allowed to feel what they feel? And when I say that, I mean, if I don't necessarily, or you don't necessarily agree with that idea or way of life or whatever it is, should you be canceled because of that? Now, if someone is being, you know, disgusting with words and just nasty, I understand when people have like, they're upset, right? Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't care what people say because I'm like, you know, people say what they say. But I understand why people get upset about that. But my question is, if I or somebody else just does not align with that, is it fair to cancel that person because that's their choice, right? Am I making sense? where it's like, okay, and I'll use examples, right? I was talking to the team earlier, we were having a discussion, and if someone says that, because of my religious beliefs, I don't believe in same-sex marriage, right? I believe that it's a man and a woman. Are they allowed to feel that without being, as you said, bullied or canceled? That's their thought, right? That's their belief that aligns with their way of life. Is that okay? Or is it fair for people to be canceled? Because people are being canceled because of that. It's not just people that are saying, horrendous things. Some people are saying, I don't align with that way of life. And then people say, well, you should be canceled. Jackson, go ahead, because say what you're thinking.
Well, I would say that when we're talking about this idea of, well, I like this hippie psychologist, Carl Rogers, in the 70s, they're like, hey, your experience is your reality. So there's like, each one of us is our own reality. And that's gone pretty good. We've said, hey, everybody's reality, they're entitled to their own reality. But then we run into this issue of what happens when we need a shared reality. And then we run amok because we can't come to consensus on a damn thing, because every individual has their own reality.
Don't toss, yeah. So, okay, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that, and that's why these kinds of things are important. This is why your work is important, and I hope that you're going to continue it in the year and beyond, because I was very turned off by the red hat. I will admit it. Okay, I was like, oh God, and then I saw went up here that it said Gower Law, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. But I was willing to sit at the table with him and have a conversation if we had to, and I think that's what we're not doing.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point too that you mentioned, and I'm going to get back to the question, but I think that's a good point because that is my question sometimes. Are we giving what we want to receive, right? And when I say that, I mean, are we giving the grace, right, and the that openness that we want to receive, right? We want people to accept us as we are. We don't want people to look, I don't want people to look at me and judge me and just guess all these different things, right? I want them to take time to have the conversation. What as humans we do, we assess people, we look, we judge, and then it's like, okay, what do I do with that judgment after, right? So after I judge, what do I do with that? Am I willing to have that conversation, or do I just stay away from Jason? Don't find out his name because he has on a red hat, right? But we do that, but yet we want people to not do it to us. So how do we get past that? Is a whole nother conversation. But go ahead, Jason.
Well, I'd be curious what you think about like restorative justice versus punitive justice, right? So the justice, judgment in terms of it leads to justice can be restorative, meaning it can make things better for everybody. And that's why we bring things to court or to an issue is like, what's the right way or what's the wrong way? Well, what would you say about this idea that justice, when in judgment, when done properly, makes things better for most or all?
What would I say?
Yeah.
Well, I
What
would
do you choose
I
that?
would agree with that. I depending on the, if you talk about punitive.
You punish, like you're going to smogger everybody into the ground, and that'll shape them up.
Well, I guess it's, as long as the punishment fits the crime,
But who decides that? That's the thing. Who decides it, right? Go ahead, Christian.
So the issue is culture is not always right.
Yeah.
Although it tends to go in the right direction, sometimes it goes too far and gets corrected. So culture is not always right. I would prefer back to your last question, listening to Thomas Jefferson, who said, if it doesn't break my bones or pick my pocket, it doesn't matter to me. And too many people want to put their opinions on everyone else. They want the culture to enforce that opinion set. And we're all individuals living our own lives, so we actually make it unique. So if we step back.
and then you factor social media into it, and you get a bunch of keyboard commandos. Suddenly now they have a voice, and they can bully, or they can, say things they wouldn't say to your face.
They won't say.
you know, make judgments in privacy of their own homes, and
Yeah.
maybe say something. I always say, I just turned 50. And I always say, thank goodness there wasn't social media. I'd be canceled back when I was younger.
Oh, I would be
I'm canceled today based on how I acted back then.
Well, and that's